Hello there, and welcome to Whispers to Sleep. My name is David, and I'm truly honored to be your guide tonight. Here we believe sleep is not just a routine. It's a gentle journey, a quiet return to peace every night. I craft stories with care, so your mind can rest and your body can soften all you need to do. Let go, take a slow deep breath in, and as you breathe out, allow the day to melt away. Close your eyes. Get cozy under the covers and let my voice lead you into calm, into comfort, into dreams. This is your time. Your memento. Truly relax. Let's begin. You stand at the edge of the desert, where the world no longer hums with the constant pulse of human noise. There is no rush here, no hurried footsteps, no distant engines or screens glowing in the night. There is only stillness. The air is cool, carrying the faintest trace of dry earth and ancient winds. You take one step forward, and the sound is swallowed, as if the desert itself has drawn you into its quiet breath. The sand beneath your feet feels soft and endless. Each grain has traveled for centuries, carried by the wind from distant mountains, broken down by time into something that no longer remembers its beginning. You imagine these grains as tiny clocks that have forgotten how to tick, holding instead a kind of patient eternity. And with each step, you feel some of that patience seeping into you, slowing the pace of your thoughts. You lift your eyes, and the sky opens like a curtain. There are stars, thousands, tens of thousands spilled across the heavens in a pattern older than language. In the city, you rarely see more than a handful. Here, though, the universe is awake. Each star burns silently, its light traveling for hundreds or thousands of years just to arrive here, tonight, above you. You breathe deeply, and the thought steadies you. The desert does not rush, and neither do the stars. Why should you? Your footsteps sink into the sand with a soft sigh. The sound is almost musical, a hush that calms the mind. Scientists call this phenomenon sound absorption, the way tiny grains of sand scatter and trap sound waves until they vanish. But you don't think of physics now. You think of how it feels like walking deeper and deeper into a world built for quiet. You pause, closing your eyes. In the silence, you begin to notice things that had always been there, hidden beneath the noise of your usual life. The faint shift of wind across your skin, the way your heartbeat slows when you listen closely enough, the small comfort of your own breath, steady and reliable. It is as if the desert is teaching you how to hear again, how to tune into the subtle rhythms that have been speaking all along. The wind stirs gently, and you imagine it as a storyteller. It has swept over mountains, rivers, and valleys, carrying traces of everything it has touched. Now it wraps around you like a cool ribbon, bringing with it a quiet reminder. You, too, are part of this greater movement. Just as the wind reshapes the dunes grain by grain, it can reshape the restless edges of your thoughts until they soften and settle. Your gaze falls to the horizon. Even in darkness, the dunes are alive with shape and shadow, sculpted by invisible hands. Each curve is a memory of the day's winds, a record of motion that is now perfectly still. It reminds you of something within yourself, the way your mind carries traces of everything it has felt, each thought carving its own faint pattern. But like the dunes, you, too, are reshaped over time, each breath smoothing the roughness until what remains is calm and simple. You walk farther, deeper into the desert's embrace. With every step, the world behind you fades, the noise, the weight of unfinished tasks, the endless spinning of days. Ahead, there is only the quiet pull of starlight. You imagine the sand cooling beneath your feet as night deepens, the heat it gathered during the day now gently leaving, exhaled back into the open sky. This is the desert's breath, slow, steady, unhurried. You match it with your own, inhaling and exhaling until the two rhythms become one. There is a strange comfort in knowing that silence is never truly empty. It is full of the things we usually overlook. The small hum of blood moving through your veins. The far-off rustle of a lone desert plant stirred by a wandering breeze. The almost imperceptible shift of the earth beneath your feet as it turns, carrying you through the dark like a ship across an endless sea. Your mind drifts to the science of this stillness. Even here, in the quietest corners of the world, there is motion. Molecules of air bump softly against one another, exchanging energy in a silent, ceaseless dance. The sand itself is alive with invisible activity heat radiating upward, grains, shifting minutely, responding to the tiniest tremors. Silence is not the absence of life. It is its purest form, unhurried and unadorned. You sit down on the cool sand, feeling it mold gently around you, as if the earth itself is holding you in its palm. The sky above is wider now, if such a thing is possible, a dome of light and shadow that seems to watch over you. Somewhere out there, stars are dying and others are being born, and yet here you are still, breathing, safe beneath their quiet gaze. Your eyes grow heavy, lulled by the slow rhythm of the night. The longer you sit, the easier it is to believe that time has softened, stretching out like the horizon itself. Perhaps this is what the desert offers most. Not merely silence, but the permission to stop measuring every passing moment. To simply be. You lie back, the cool sand cradling your spine, and let the stars fill your vision. They do not flicker here as they do in the city. They shine steadily, patient and calm. You remember reading once that the light of the nearest star takes more than 4 years to reach Earth, and the light of many others, thousands of years. You are not just looking at the stars, you are looking into the past, into the long, unbroken story of the universe itself. And in that thought, you find peace. Because if the stars can wait thousands of years to be seen, perhaps you too can slow down. Perhaps you can simply rest. The wind moves again, a soft sigh over the dunes, and for a moment, it almost sounds like words. You close your eyes and listen, not to understand, but to feel. It carries a promise that there is more to discover in this quiet, that if you follow the silence far enough, it will lead you to something vast and beautiful. And so, beneath the endless sky, you breathe in the desert stillness, and with every breath, you feel lighter. The stars above seem to lean closer, as though they, too, want to show you the next step. Because beyond silence, there is something else waiting, something higher, brighter, and infinite, something in the sky of 1,000 suns. You tilt your head back and let your eyes drink in the sky. It is impossibly wide, a velvet canvas scattered with 1,000 points of light. No city glare hides the mirror. No walls, no ceilings, no artificial glow to drown out what has always been above you. In this stillness, the stars are revealed in their true abundance, and for a moment, you feel small, but not in a way that frightens you. It is the kind of smallness that comforts, the kind that reminds you there is space enough for every worry to fade into something weightless. You recognize Orion first. His belt, a neat row of 3 stars, seems to hover just above the horizon. Ancient travelers once used him to find their way across oceans and deserts alike. You imagine them, centuries ago, standing in the same kind of darkness you stand in now, trusting those same points of light to guide them. And you realize, every star is more than light. It is memory. It is history still shining. Your gaze drifts to the Milky Way, that soft band of silver stretching from one horizon to the other. Scientists call it our galaxy, a home of hundreds, of billions of stars. Yet from here, it looks almost tender, like a ribbon of spilled light brushed gently across the dark. You think of what you've heard, that when you look at the Milky Way, you are not just seeing stars, you are seeing the combined glow of countless suns, each one unimaginably far away, their light traveling for thousands, sometimes millions, of years just to reach your eyes tonight. The thought is so vast that it should be overwhelming. And yet, in the quiet of the desert, it feels simple. You breathe in, you breathe out. You imagine the photons, those tiny packets of light, leaving their stars long before your world even existed. You imagine them crossing cosmic emptiness, unbothered by time, until they finally arrive here, painting the sky for you. And you realize you are not only looking at the past, you are holding it in your gaze. Above you, a meteor streaks, sharp and gone. You watch it with quiet awe. That, you remember, is not a star at all, but a fragment of ancient rock, burning as it dives through Earth's atmosphere. The desert air carries no sound of its passing, but you feel the event like a note in a song too deep to hear. It is a reminder. Even the smallest speck of matter can make the sky sing for a moment. The longer you look, the more the stars begin to feel familiar. They are not just distant suns, they are companions. You find yourself tracing invisible lines between them, just as people have for millennia. There's Cassiopeia, her sharp W tilted gently toward the horizon. There's the North Star, steadfast and calm, a fixed point in the turning sky. For a moment, you imagine every person who has ever looked up at these same stars. Shepherds, resting on quiet hillsides, sailors navigating dark waters, children pressing their faces to cold windows. You are not alone in this. You never have been. And then softly, you remember the science of what you see. Stars, you know, are nuclear furnaces, each one a churning heart of fusion. Inside them, hydrogen, the simplest element in the universe, is pressed together until it becomes helium, releasing light and heat in an endless cycle. It is this process that has burned for billions of years, and it is this process that makes the night sky bloom above you. Somehow, knowing this does not make the stars less magical. It makes them more so, because now you understand the warmth of your own body, the carbon in your breath, the iron in your blood, all were born in the hearts of ancient stars. You close your eyes for a moment and imagine it, the universe folding in on itself, time unspooling backward until every atom you are was once part of something that burned in the dark. You open your eyes again, and the sky no longer feels distant. It feels like home. The wind stirs lightly at your back, carrying a faint chill. You pull your gaze lower and see the desert stretching out in quiet shadow, the dunes silvered by starlight. You feel grounded by the sand beneath you, even as the sky above lifts you into its immensity. You exist between the two, the earth below, the stars above, and the gentle, unshakable stillness holding you in place. Another meteor cuts across the sky, and you smile. You think of how every shooting star is a reminder of motion, that the heavens are not fixed, but alive. The universe is still unfolding. Galaxies drift, stars are born, others fade. Everything is in motion, even if it feels perfectly still. And in that truth, you find a quiet kind of hope. Change does not have to be loud. Sometimes it is as soft as starlight. You lie back in the sand and let your breath slow even more. The sky above seems closer now, almost as if you could reach up and touch it. You wonder for just a moment what it would be like to hold a star, but then you realize, in a way, you already do. With every breath, you carry their remnants. With every heartbeat, you are stitched together from their light. You are not separate from this sky. You are an echo of it. The silence around you deepens, and your eyes begin to blur, not from sleep yet, but from the sheer immensity of what you are seeing. You could stay here forever, tracing constellations, letting the stars keep you company. But the desert night has more to show you, because if the sky above is a map of light, then the sand beneath your feet is its twin in silence. And just as the heavens tell their story in stars, the desert has its own language, one written not in brightness, but in quiet, shifting grains. And as you take one last look upward, the stars seem to hum in their stillness, inviting you onward, down into the language of the earth itself. You lower your gaze from the stars and let it rest on the ground beneath you. At first, it looks simple, just sand, endless and quiet. But as your eyes adjust, you notice something more. The surface is not flat. It is alive with vines and ripples, as if the wind itself has been writing in a language only the desert understands. You kneel and let your fingers sink into it. The grains are cool, smooth, and impossibly small. Each one has a story. Some began as fragments of ancient mountains, worn down by centuries of wind and rain. Others once lay at the bottom of vanished rivers, polished and carried across landscapes long erased by time. Now they are here, gathered in this silent sea, shaped by forces so patient they move too slowly for the eye to see. You scoop up a handful, letting it slip through your fingers. It flows like water, but it is not liquid. It is countless tiny solids shifting and sliding together in perfect silence. And as it falls, you think of how sand dunes form. The wind pushes one grain at a time, lifting it, carrying it, and letting it settle again. Over days, months, and years, these small movements create vast waves of earth that seem frozen in motion, like a tide that never breaks. You glance toward the horizon and see the dunes rising and falling, their edges soft and smooth, their shadows deepening in the moonlight. They look still, but you know they are not. Dunes migrate. They move with the wind, creeping forward grain by grain, sometimes inches in a year, sometimes faster after a storm. What you see now is not fixed. It is part of a slow, quiet dance between air and earth, one that has been going on for longer than memory. Not your footsteps leave faint impressions in the sand, but even those are temporary. The wind will come, and it will erase them, returning the surface to its original stillness. There is something comforting in that thought. Nothing here lasts forever, but nothing here is ever truly lost. Every mark is simply rewritten, folded back into the deserts. Endless script. You sit down, feeling the sand shift slightly beneath you. Even the sound is soft, more like a sigh than a crunch. You imagine the grains rubbing against each other, and you remember that in some deserts, dunes can sing. It's called booming sand, a phenomenon where millions of grains slide down, a slope together, vibrating and resonating like a giant natural instrument. The sound is low, like distant thunder, a reminder that even in silence, the desert has its own music. You close your eyes for a moment and picture it, an ocean of dunes, each one shaped by invisible hands, each one humming softly in the language of time. You can almost hear it now, not with your ears, but somewhere deeper, as if the earth itself is breathing beneath you. When you open your eyes, you notice the delicate ripples on the dune in front of you. They are smaller than waves on water, but follow the same rules. Wind creates them by sorting grains, according to size and weight. Lighter grains are lifted and carried farther, while heavier ones settle quickly, creating tiny ridges that repeat across the dune's face. Each line is a record of a breeze that passed by. Long after it has gone, you reach out and trace one of those ripples with your fingertip. It feels like touching a memory, soft and fleeting. The desert, you realize, is a kind of archive, not written in ink or paper, but in layers of sand, each one shaped by wind, each one holding a story of what once was. And then your mind drifts to something deeper, the grains themselves. Under a microscope, they are not smooth, but jagged, like broken glass. Every sharp edge is a clue, a record of how far it has traveled, how long it has been tumbled and ground against other grains. Scientists can read those clues, learning where the sand came from, how old it is, even which rocks gave birth to it. But tonight, you don't need a microscope. You only need to sit here, to watch the moonlight slide across the dunes, and to feel the slow pulse of time moving beneath you. The desert teaches you this without words. The world is always changing, even when it looks perfectly still. A soft breeze stirs, and a few grains shift at your feet. You watch them roll and tumble, tiny and weightless, as if they are eager to join the dunes' quiet migration. You wonder how many centuries it would take for this one handful of sand to travel a mile. The thought is strangely comforting. Nature is not in a hurry. It moves in its own patient rhythm, one that asks nothing of you but to notice it. You lean back on your hands and breathe in the cool, dry air. For a moment, the universe feels balanced, stars above, sand below, and you, a small piece of both. And you think, perhaps that is the language of the desert. Not words, not sounds, but stillness. A stillness so deep it becomes a kind of wisdom. You close your eyes again and listen not for sound, but for quiet. And in that quiet, you almost feel the earth turning beneath you, carrying the desert, the stars, and your own body forward through. The vastness of space. When you open them, the wind has shifted. A single line of sand has changed shape, subtle but unmistakable. It's as if the desert has written a new sentence, one only you have seen. And as you watch it, you feel something gentle rising within you, a question, quiet but insistent. The sand can carry the memory of the wind. What stories might the air itself hold? The wind brushes against your skin soft, almost hesitant, like the desert is greeting you in its own language. You close your eyes for a moment and simply feel it. It is neither loud nor forceful. It comes in quiet waves, cool against your face, warm against your hands, like two contrasting stories told at once. You listen closer, and though the wind has no words, it carries meaning. It reminds you that air is never still. Even in the quietest night, it moves, shaping, carrying, balancing the world around you. You breathe it in, and for a moment, you imagine following it, tracing its invisible path across the dunes, across continents, across oceans. The desert breeze tonight is born from differences in temperature. The earth, warmed unevenly by the sun, creates pockets of hot air that rise, making space for cooler air to flow in. You feel this dance against your skin, the push and pull, the unseen rhythm that keeps the atmosphere alive. It is simple physics, yet it feels like poetry. Way warm air lifts gently upward, while cooler air slides in beneath it, like one long, graceful bow exchanged between partners. You open your eyes. The sand at your feet shifts slightly, as if bowing to the wind's passing touch. You realize the dunes you saw earlier are not only shaped by time, but by these very movements of air. One soft breeze may shift only a few grains, but over years, over centuries, it is enough to carve valleys and raise hills, sculpting the desert into a living map of motion. You take a deep breath. The air tastes faintly dry, but there's something else, something almost metallic, carried from distant mountains or salt flats miles away. You're breathing in particles that have traveled far, carried effortlessly by the currents above the earth. The thought is humbling. Every breath is shared. The air filling your lungs might have drifted through the branches of a rainforest, skimmed the surface of an icy sea, or risen from sunlit plains. It has been touched by countless lives before yours, plants, animals, oceans, each leaving a trace, a quiet fingerprint on the wind. You sit down, letting the breeze wrap around you. It cools your face, and you notice how it moves in patterns you cannot see, but can almost sense. Wind doesn't rush randomly. It flows in invisible streams, like rivers in the sky. Meteorologists call these movements pressure gradients, but to you, they feel like the world's hidden veins, carrying life from one horizon to the next. You lean back and watch how the wind speaks to the desert itself. Tiny spirals of sand lift for a moment and then vanish, like brief thoughts that dissolve as quickly as they come. These swirling patterns are called eddies, little pockets of turbulence, born from the friction of air and earth. They seem playful, almost alive, as if the wind enjoys leaving its fingerprints on the sand before it moves on dot. You begin to notice how your own breath joins this endless motion. With every exhale, warm air from your body drifts into the night. It mingles with the breeze, disappearing but never truly gone, carried onward by the same forces that have moved air since the first winds stirred over a young earth. You are, in this quiet way, part of the atmosphere's story too. The wind grows, slightly stronger, rushing past your ears like a faint song. You remember something you once read: that sound travels faster in warmer air because molecules move more quickly when heated. You imagine the breeze as a living orchestra, changing its pitch and tone as temperatures rise and fall. Even the faint whistle between the dunes is a reminder of this subtle science. A lullaby written in air dot. You close your eyes again and picture the wind as a painter. With every gust, it smooths the desert surface, erasing old footprints, shaping new curves, writing and rewriting the same story over and over. And somehow, this rewriting is not destruction, it is balance. Nothing in the desert lasts forever, but nothing is truly lost either. The wind simply moves it, reshapes it, gives it another form. You let your hand hover above the ground and feel the faint push of the breeze against your skin. It is gentle but constant, proof of how even invisible things have weight and power. Scientists call this air pressure, but tonight it feels more like presence, the quiet touch of something vast. Something that has been here long before you and will remain long after. The breeze slows for a moment, then stirs again, shifting in a slightly different direction. You think of the Coriolis effect, the way Earth's rotation bends the paths of winds, turning them east or west across the globe. It's strange and beautiful. Even the air you feel now is part of that larger spinning motion, a thread in the planet's endless turning. And you realize the wind isn't aimless. It is the earth breathing. You sit with that thought for a while, letting it settle like sand in still water. Each gust is an exhale, each calm pause an inhale. And in between those breaths, you find quiet, the same quiet that drifts between heartbeats, the same quiet that makes sleep come easily. You close your eyes one last time and surrender to it, the soft rhythm of wind, the hush of moving air, the endless, patient work of an atmosphere sculpting the world. And you think of what lies beyond. This breeze dot, because if the wind can move sand, shape the desert, and carry the memory of oceans, what else might it carry, hidden in its unseen hands? The desert shifts as the sun dips below the horizon. You feel it not just in the fading light, but in the air itself. The warmth that clung to the ground begins to rise, slipping away like a sigh at the end of a long day. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the world exhales. You stand still, breathing in the change. The day's heat, once heavy and pressing, now drifts upward, carried away into the cooling sky. Beneath your feet, the sand that burned hours ago is losing its fire, grain by grain, as if the earth is unclenching its fist. You watch and feel this transformation, and it reminds you of your own breath, how every inhale brings life in, and every exhale releases the weight you no longer need. This is the desert's breath. Scientists call it thermal radiation, the way the ground releases heat after the sun disappears. In the day, sunlight pours energy into the sand until it holds more warmth than the air itself. But when night comes, the desert reverses its rhythm. The stored heat rises like invisible smoke, vanishing into the vastness above. The temperature drops quickly, almost dramatically, because there are no clouds here to hold the warmth close. And so, just as you breathe in and out, the desert too moves in its own quiet rhythm, exhaling the last traces of sunlight into the night. You draw in a slow breath and feel the coolness settle across your skin. This cycle is not violent or sudden. It is gentle, like water flowing out of a tide pool and then quietly returning. You realize that this shift is the reason the desert feels alive, even in its stillness. It is always in motion, even when your eyes cannot see it. You kneel and touch the sand. It is no longer scorching. It is soft and warm, almost like skin holding the memory of a summer afternoon. This is conduction, the simple act of heat traveling from the warmer ground to the cooler air. But here, in the quiet dark, it feels like more than science. It feels like the earth is letting go, the way you do when you close your eyes at the end of a long day and release your final waking thought. Above you, the wind shifts slightly, carrying cool air from faraway mountains. You notice how this movement deepens the desert's breath, like the difference between shallow and steady inhalation. Cold air sinks into the low places of the landscape, while warm air drifts upward, a perfect balance that requires no effort, no force, just time and the quiet laws of nature. You breathe in deeply and imagine your own lungs joining this rhythm. Inhale the night air, cool and dry, filling you with a deep, quiet peace. Exhale the warmth of your body, blending with the cooling desert around you. For a moment, there is no difference between the two. You and the desert share the same breath. You think about how this cycle has been happening for millions of years. Long before anyone walked here, before there were cities or lights or names for constellations, the desert was already breathing like this. It is older than memory, older than language. And somehow, it feels comforting to know that your breath now is just one more note in this endless rhythm, a small harmony joining a much larger song. You lie back on the cooling sand, letting the air settle around you. Above, the stars sharpen against the darkening sky, their light steady and clear. Without the heat rising in waves, the air has stilled, becoming clearer, quieter, as if the world itself is preparing for rest. Even the insects seem to hush, as though they, too, are listening to the soundless breathing of the land. Your hand presses against the ground, and you notice the last traces of stored heat slipping away. The desert is inhaling now, pulling in the coolness of the night, and with it comes a calm so deep it feels infinite. This is the earth at its most peaceful, a perfect exchange of warmth and coolness, a silent balance that needs no witness but the stars. You close your eyes. In your chest, your breath falls in step with this vast, natural rhythm. You begin to wonder if this is why the desert is such a place of clarity, not because it is empty, but because it is simple. Nothing here fights for control. The wind moves because of temperature. The sand shifts because of the wind. The air cools because the sun has left. There is no hurry, no resistance, only harmony. And in this harmony, you find yourself letting go of something you didn't realize you were holding. The night deepens. The desert exhales one last trace of its warmth, and in the quiet, you feel it, an invitation, as if the land itself is telling you, breathe with me, and you do. With every inhale, the coolness enters you like a calm tide. With every exhale, you join the desert in its long, patient sigh. You and the earth move together now, one steady, endless breath. And as you drift deeper into that rhythm, a question stirs softly in your mind, carried on the same wind that moves across the dunes. If the desert itself can breathe, what other hidden lives might be waiting beneath its quiet skin? You stand in the desert's embrace, and at first, It seems utterly silent. No voices, no footsteps, no echoes of a busy world. Only stillness, wide and unbroken. But as your breath slows, you begin to notice what lies beneath that silence. The world here is not empty. It is alive with quiet music. The soft hum of an insect's wings in the distance. The gentle slide of sand grains shifting with the breeze. Even your own heartbeat, steady and calm, becomes part of the soundscape. This is not silence at all. It is a symphony so delicate that it only plays for those who truly listen. You close your eyes. The desert becomes a concert hall, its walls made of horizon and starlight. The air carries sound differently here, because there are no tall trees, no busy cities, no echoing walls. Every tiny note moves unbroken through the vast, open space. Sound in the desert doesn't bounce. It stretches, softens, and fades like the last rays of twilight. Scientists call this phenomenon sound attenuation, the way air absorbs and scatters sound waves, especially in dry places like this. Water droplets in humid air carry sound farther, but here in the arid desert, every vibration travels only so far before it is swallowed by stillness. It is why the desert feels so deeply quiet, why every noise seems to dissolve into the sky. And yet, that very stillness sharpens your awareness. You hear the flutter of a small night bird sweeping low across the dunes, its wings slicing the air. In graceful arcs, you catch the distant rattle of a pebble rolling down a slope, nudged by nothing but gravity's patient hand. These are not loud sounds, but here they feel infinite. In the desert's stillness, even the smallest whisper becomes a story. You kneel and place your hand against the cool sand. Press your ear close, and you might imagine the faint shifting beneath you. There are creatures down there, beetles tunneling. Through their hidden corridors, snakes gliding between grains, each movement a thread in the desert's quiet music. And as you listen, something remarkable happens. Your body begins to match the rhythm of this soundless song. Your breathing slows. Your shoulders loosen. Your mind, which has carried the noise of the day, finally grows quiet. This is what scientists sometimes call acoustic ecology. The way sound, or the absence of it, shapes the way living things feel. When the noise of the world falls away, your nervous system calms. Your heartbeat steadies. Even your brain waves shift, gliding from the busy chatter of wakefulness toward slower, softer patterns. The desert is not just a landscape. It is a teacher. It shows you what it means to be still. You look up at the stars, and for a moment, even the sky seems to hum. Not with sound, but with presence. Each point of light is silent, but together they create a kind of cosmic music. Harmony you feel rather than hear. Astronomers tell us that stars vibrate in ways we cannot perceive, that their very light is the echo of ancient energy rippling through space. And standing here in this quiet expanse, you almost believe you can sense it, the universe breathing slow and deep, in its own eternal rhythm. A breeze passes by, brushing your cheek like a whispered note. You watch as it stirs the sand in tiny swirling eddies. Even that has a sound, faint as it is, the sigh of a world that has learned to move gently. You smile without meaning to dock in the desert. Nothing is wasted. Even silence is full. It cradles you like a lullaby, reminding you that life does not always roar. Sometimes it hums. You sit down on the cool ground and let yourself listen longer. The more you listen, the more you hear, not with your ears alone, but with something deeper. You begin to notice your own body joining this symphony of stillness. The way your lungs expand and contract, the way your pulse moves like a drumbeat beneath your skin. Steady and reassuring dot, this is the music of connection, your breath mingling with the desert's breath, your calm folding into the calm of the world around you, dot, and then a thought comes quietly, like a feather drifting down from the stars. Perhaps silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of balance. The desert has no need to be loud. Its wisdom speaks in whispers. Its beauty moves at the pace of sand sliding down a dune, of starlight crossing the heavens. And you, standing here, feel yourself becoming part of it, not separate, not watching, but belonging. You stay like this for what feels like hours, though. Time here has no edges. The quiet becomes a cocoon, wrapping you in its gentle rhythm. You breathe in, you breathe out. The desert breathes with you, and in that shared stillness, you realize something wonderful. You do not need to fill this quiet with anything. You only need to let it hold you. The wind softens again, almost like a sigh, and in that sigh, you hear an invitation. You wonder if the silence of the desert can sing this softly, what other hidden melodies might be waiting where the eye cannot. See, the thought lingers like a final note, carrying you deeper into the hush, until the sound beneath the sand begins to call. You stretch out on the cool sand, the vast desert sky spilling above you like an ocean of light. Every star seems closer here, as if the air itself has thinned to let the universe in. You inhale slowly, and for a moment, the silence of the world and the glow of the heavens feel like one unbroken breath. And then it strikes you. You are not just looking at the stars. You are looking at yourself, about the calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen that fills your lungs. Each one was born in a star that lived and died billions of years ago. The hydrogen that moves through every cell in your body, that came from the birth of the universe itself, forged in the first moments after the Big Bang. You close your eyes and imagine it. A star, massive and bright, burning in the darkness. In its heart, atoms collide with unimaginable force, fusing together in nuclear fire. This is where the elements of life are born, not in quiet places, but in cosmic furnaces. Then, one day, that star dies, it collapses inward, then explodes outward in a supernova, scattering its luminous pieces across the galaxy. And from those pieces, those fragments of light and fire, new worlds form, new oceans, new skies. And eventually, you are stardust, walking and breathing and wondering beneath the very sky that made you. This thought does not make you feel small. It makes you feel infinite. You gaze upward, tracing the slow curve of the Milky Way. You picture it not as a flat sky, but as it truly is, a spiral of hundreds of billions of stars, swirling like a great cosmic tide. Astronomers say our galaxy stretches 100,000 light years across. And yet, here you are, one quiet person in the desert, connected to all of it. The desert, you realize, has always been a perfect mirror for this truth. Its wide horizons reflect the vastness of the universe. Its silence allows you to hear what is usually hidden. Even the sand beneath you carries this same story. The silicon grains that slip between your fingers were once born in ancient stars, just as you were. The earth itself is stardust, cooled and gathered into stone and soil and sky. You are lying not on a planet, but on the ashes of long-dead stars. Their fire turns solid beneath your body. And above you, their living siblings burn on, watching. Your breath deepens. With every exhale, you feel a little more like part of the pattern, part of this endless story written in light. Scientists call this cosmic connection nucleosynthesis, the process by which stars create elements. But out here, beneath this sky, the word feels too small. What you feel is not a scientific term, it is wonder. It is a quiet recognition that you have never really been separate from the night above you. Your hand rests against your chest, and you feel the steady rhythm of your heart. That beat is powered by iron carried across the galaxy billions of years ago. The breath you draw is rich with oxygen first brewed in stars that died before Earth was even formed. You are not borrowing from the universe. You are made of it. Suddenly, The stars don't feel far away at all. You imagine them not as distant points of light, but as memories in your body, every atom a tiny echo of celestial fire. You are in every sense a constellation walking. The thought fills you with a calm so deep it feels endless. You look again at the sky. The constellations are no longer just patterns of myth and story. They are family. Orion's belt, the curve of the Big Dipper, a faint thread of Andromeda, hanging at the edge of sight each. One is a reminder that you are woven into something immeasurable. The universe does not look down at you. It looks out from within you. For a moment, you picture the timeline of it all, the stars forging their elements, the dust drifting through space, the earth gathering that dust into oceans and forests, and eventually into you. Billions of years. Written in every breath you take, you feel no rush, no need to move. The desert sky holds you, and you hold it in return. It is strange, you think, how quiet this revelation feels. You might expect such a truth to roar, but it doesn't. It hums low and steady, like a lullaby older than life itself. And that hum seeps into you until your mind is still, until you can almost hear your atoms whispering their origin tiny. Sparks of memory, reminding you that you are both ancient and new, vast and small, all at once. The wind brushes over you again, cool and weightless, as if the desert itself is breathing with you. You smile softly, letting the quiet carry you. Perhaps this is why the desert feels sacred, not because it is empty, but because it is full of everything that ever was. You do not feel separate from it anymore. You are the stars. You are the sand. You are the silence between them. And as you lie there, gazing upward, you begin to wonder. If you are stardust, if every atom of you carries the memory of light, then what else might you hold within you? The question drifts through your mind like a falling star, bright, fleeting, and impossibly gentle. You close your eyes. The desert cradles you, the sky watches over you, and for one timeless moment, you are infinite. And in that infinity, another thought begins to form. A thought that will lead you to what lies beneath, where echoes sleep in the sand and wait to be heard. The desert night is quiet now, and so are you. You feel your breath slowing, your body sinking deeper into the sand's gentle cradle. Above you, the stars shimmer softly, as if watching over you. And somewhere between wakefulness and sleep, you feel it, the delicate shift, the threshold where the world outside begins to blur, and the world within begins to bloom. Your eyelids grow heavy. Your thoughts loosen their grip. And in this space, you discover the science of dreams. Inside your brain, a symphony of activity begins. Neurons, those tiny messengers of thought, fire in patterns like flickering constellations. As you drift from wakefulness into sleep, your brain passes through stages, each one slower and softer than the last. The first stage feels like floating. Alpha waves hum gently through your mind, slower than the sharp waking rhythms of day. Your muscles relax, your heartbeat eases. It is the quiet prelude before the deep descent. Then you slip further. Stage 2 arrives, and with it, tiny sparks called sleep spindles dance across your brain. These brief bursts of activity are your mind's way of protecting its rest, shielding you from the noise of the outside world. You are safe here, cocooned, in stillness, and then deep sleep. In this stage, your body repairs itself. Your cells mend, your immune system strengthens. Delta waves, the slowest of all, roll through your brain like distant tides. Here, the world is heavy and calm, a place where even time seems to pause. But it is not until the final stage, REM sleep, that you begin to dream. Rapid eye movement, they call it. Behind your closed lids, your eyes flicker as if tracing paths across invisible skies. Your brain, so quiet moments ago, lights up again. It looks almost as if you are awake, except now your mind is free from the weight of reality. This is where dreams are born. Scientists say REM sleep is when your brain weaves memories together, stitching fragments of thought into meaning. It is here that emotions are softened, lessons are stored, and ideas rearrange themselves like stars finding new constellations. You have felt it before. The strange, vivid landscapes of dreams, mountains made of sound, faces from long ago, rooms that stretch on forever. And yet, beneath all their mystery, dreams have a purpose. They are the language your brain speaks to heal itself. Your body remains still, but inside, a quiet alchemy unfolds. You imagine your brain as a great moonlit library. Each neuron is a lamp, each memory a book. As you dream, the shelves are dusted, the pages are mended, and new chapters are written. Thoughts that once felt tangled become smooth. Feelings that once felt sharp become soft around the edges. This is why, when you wake, the world often feels lighter. You think of the desert around you, its slow, patient rhythm. In a way, your mind is no different. Dreams are its wind, reshaping the dunes of thought until they form new patterns, new landscapes. And just like the desert, this process is both silent and profound. You smile faintly, remembering how often you've wondered about dreams. Are they messages, memories, or simply the random sparks of a resting brain? Perhaps they are all of these at once. Perhaps they are proof that even in stillness, you are never truly still. Your breath deepens. Your body feels weightless now. You imagine each neuron firing, not chaotically, but like music. Scientists have mapped these rhythms, but lying here, you don't need the data. You can feel it. Every pulse of your brain is another note in a quiet, invisible song dot, and that song is carrying you deeper. You remember something beautiful. The same chemicals that light up the sky and stars also light up your brain as it dreams. Sodium, potassium, calcium, tiny sparks of the cosmos, firing in your mind. Even in sleep, you are still made of stardust, still connected to the universe that cradles you. The stars above, and the stars within, they are not separate after all. Exhale slowly, as if in answer to that truth. The cool air of the desert brushes your skin, grounding you. Your heart, steady and calm, beats in quiet time with the universe itself. You think of the strange wisdom of the mind. While you sleep, it heals, it learns, it remembers. And it does all of this without your effort, without your will. Like the turning of the planets or the rising of the sun, it is a rhythm that has always been there. You let yourself sink into it completely. The wind hums over the dunes, a lullaby you can almost mistake for breath. Your muscles loosen. The last of your thoughts drift like leaves across a still pond, disappearing into the dark. Now, there is only the quiet hum of the brain at rest. You wonder, for a fleeting moment, what dream might come for you tonight. Will it be a memory? A story? A place you've never been, but somehow know? Whatever it is, you are ready to follow it, knowing that each dream is another step inward, toward the deep, quiet center of yourself. Your mind begins to dim, like lanterns, one by one going out in the soft dark of a sleeping city dot, and as the last light fades, you hear it, the silence between thoughts, vast and tender, holding you the way the desert holds the sky. You do not resist it. You let it take you, because tonight, you are not falling asleep. You are returning to the place where every mind drifts when it finally lets go. And as you drift, one question rises, soft and unhurried, carrying you toward what comes next. If dreams are the mind's way of mending, what quiet secrets might the earth itself be dreaming beneath your feet? You awaken before the sun, though the world still feels wrapped in sleep. The air is cool against your skin, gentle as a whisper. Above you, the stars fade one by one, like lanterns being quietly dimmed. And on the horizon, there is the first suggestion of light, a pale thread, soft and almost shy, stretching across the desert sky. This is the hour between worlds. Not night, not day, something quieter. A pause where the earth itself seems to hold its breath. You sit in this stillness and feel the desert around you. Its vastness is unchanged, yet it feels different now. The heat of yesterday is only a memory. Stored deep in the sand, even the wind rests. All that remains is silence, and elegant silence, layered with the faint hum of life you can almost hear if you listen closely enough. It is in these hours, scientists say, that the earth begins to shift. The cooling ground releases the last of its stored warmth. Molecules of air dance slower, denser now in the crisp pre-dawn chill. And above, the sky rearranges itself, scattering light in new ways as the sun begins its long, quiet climb. You breathe in. The air feels different, clearer, almost sharper. It carries no weight, no hurry. Your body mirrors it. Your lungs expand, easily welcoming this cool stillness. Your heartbeat feels steady, like the gentle pulse of the desert itself. In this moment, you are not separate from it. You are simply another piece of its quiet geometry, resting inside its vastness. And then the first colors appear. At first, it is only silver, a faint wash of light across the edges of the horizon. Then, slowly, a soft rose spreads through it, followed by the faintest touch of gold. It is not sudden. Nothing in the desert ever is. It unfolds with patience, as if the sun itself respects the quiet of this hour. Your eyes follow it, and you realize this is light scattered by air molecules, bent and softened by distance. Rayleigh scattering, the scientists call it. But here, it feels less like a calculation and more like a secret gift from the sky, proof that even the simplest laws of nature can create something beautiful. You exhale, letting that beauty sink into you. Somewhere behind you, the stars are still visible. They are faint now, but they remain tiny reminders that the universe is still there, waiting beyond the reach of the coming day. For a moment, it feels as though the night and the morning are holding hands, neither one ready to let go. And in that balance, you feel something deep within you settle. This is what the desert teaches, that change can be quiet, that endings and beginnings do not always clash. They can blend, slow and seamless, until one becomes the other without you even noticing. You sit there, watching the sun climb higher, but there is no rush. Even the light seems to understand the value of stillness. In this soft illumination, you notice things you could not see before. The gentle lines of the dunes, shaped by wind and time. The faint trails of nocturnal creatures, etched like delicate signatures in the sand. Life has been here all along, unseen in the darkness, now revealed in morning's first light. You realize that the desert, like you, holds its stories quietly. You take another breath, slow and even, and the cool air carries a promise. Soon the day will come, and with it, heat and movement and noise. But for now, you are suspended in this perfect equilibrium, where the world asks nothing of you except to be still. You tilt your head back, closing your eyes, and let the sun's first warmth brush against your face. It is soft at first, barely more than a touch. But it grows, and with it comes a sense of renewal, as though this new day is offering itself to you, piece by piece. The science of dawn is simple. The earth turns. The sun appears. But when you witness it here, in the hush of the desert, it feels like more than rotation and light. It feels like the slow opening of a door, the gentle shift from one chapter to the next. You open your eyes again. The horizon now burns with gold, the last traces of silver and rose melting into the day. Shadows retreat into themselves, and the desert begins to stir. Yet even as the light grows stronger, You carry the quiet with you. That stillness is not gone. It lingers in your breath, in the slow rhythm of your heart, in the memory of stars that only moments ago seemed close enough to touch. And you realize dawn does not erase the night. It holds it, folds it into itself, and carries it forward, just as you will carry this peace into whatever comes next. You rise slowly, brushing the cool grains of sand from your hands. The world is brighter now, but you are unhurried. You know this moment will stay with you, quiet as starlight, long after the day has fully claimed the sky. And as you take one last look at the horizon, a question lingers, soft and steady, like the wind before it moves. If the desert can hold both night and day in its silence, what other wonders might the morning bring? You stand at the edge of the desert, the sun now stretching higher above the horizon. Its light is gentle at first, spilling over the dunes like liquid gold. Yet beneath it, you are still wrapped in the coolness of everything you have gathered. The night's silence, the wind's soft language, the memory of stars that seemed close enough to touch. You take a step, and the sand shifts beneath you, leaving quiet patterns that vanish almost as soon as they are made. But the stillness remains inside you, unmoving, as if the desert itself has entrusted you with a secret one you cannot lose. No matter how far you travel, the air tastes different now, warmer, brighter, molecules in motion. You think of how scientists describe this: air expanding as it warms, rising in unseen currents, shifting endlessly across the world. And you realize that this quiet you've carried is like that air, light enough to move with you, subtle enough to slip into. Every space you enter, you breathe in deeply, and it fills you. Around you, the desert stirs to life. Small birds arc across the sky, their wings catching the sun's new rays. A beetle traces a careful path across the sand, its movement slow but purposeful. Even the tiniest forms of life seem to honor this balanced activity wrapped in stillness. Motion rooted in quiet intention. You begin to walk, and with every step, you notice how easily the silence follows. It does not cling. It flows, the way water shapes itself to a river's bend. It is not bound to the desert, it is bound to you. And as you move, you begin to understand what you have gathered in this place. You carry the stars, the carbon in your bones, the iron in your blood born in the heart of collapsing suns. You are walking proof that silence is not emptiness, but the space where creation waits. You carry the wind. Each breath you take has been exhaled countless times before by forests, by oceans, by the quiet lungs of sleeping animals. Inhaling now, you are connected to all of it, an invisible thread binding you to everything that breathes. And you carry the earth, its steady rotation, its patient gravity, the endless rhythm that spins day into night and back again. You have felt that rhythm in the sand beneath you, in the coolness of the dawn, in the way time itself slows here. You pause for a moment and close your eyes. Inside, you picture your mind like a calm pool of water. No ripples, no disturbances, only reflection. You remember how the brain, even at rest, hums with quiet activity. Neurons pulse with electrical whispers, weaving thoughts and memories. And yet, when you listen closely, the rhythm is not frantic, it is steady, like footsteps taken in soft sand. You smile. You realize this quiet is not just around you, it is within you. You turn back once, letting your eyes rest on the desert. One last time. Its horizon is infinite, but you no longer need to keep staring at it to feel its stillness. It is already imprinted in your breath, in your steady heart, in the way your thoughts have softened into something slower, deeper. And then you begin the journey home. As you walk, you imagine how you will carry this with you. When the noise of the world grows loud again, when the rush of days threatens to pull you under, you will return to this silence. You will remember the science of it, the cooling air of dawn, the scattering of light, the still hum of the brain. At rest, but more than the facts, you will remember how it felt. The desert has taught you that silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of space. It is what allows the wind to speak, what gives the stars room to shine, what lets. You breathe without hurry, and this is what you carry home. You do not need to hold it tightly. You do not need to guard it. It will stay with you, the way morning sunlight lingers on the skin even after you step indoors. You exhale, long and slow, and as you do, you feel the edges of this quiet settling into you like grains of sand finding their place. When you open your eyes, the world is brighter now. The hum of life will return, soon distant voices, footsteps, the soft murmur of waking cities. But you are not afraid of it. You know how to hear the silence beneath it, the same way you can still see stars even after the sun has risen. If only you look closely enough. You keep walking. Your pace is unhurried. The horizon changes, and yet you remain calm. By the time you reach the threshold between this quiet world and a familiar one, you are no longer just someone who visited the desert. You are someone who carries it like an ember tucked safely away, glowing softly, ready to warm any moment you choose. You close your eyes once more, not to sleep, but to remember, and in that memory, the silence deepens, stretching out like the night sky, vast and endless and yours. Perhaps tomorrow you will wake in another place. Perhaps there will be no desert, no stars, no endless horizon. But it will not matter, because the quiet is not behind you, it is in you. And as you breathe in, steady and slow, one last thought drifts through you, unhurried and certain. If the desert can live within you, what other worlds might you carry? 2. And now, as our story gently fades, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending this moment with me. Your presence here means the world, and your support helps me create even more peaceful journeys. Just for you. If this helped you rest, please consider liking, subscribing, or simply coming back tomorrow night. Until then, stay cozy, stay kind, and may your dreams tonight be soft, serene, and full of wonder. Good night, my friend. With warmth, David.